So good morning. I know things are a little bit sideways. I'm going to try to one more time change that. That didn't make too much of a difference, but I'll do some fiddling later on. Welcome to Sunday morning yoga. And let's get started. You know, we often start in sitting, but today I'd like to start lying down. So let's start on our backs. You can have the knees bent if that's easier on your low back, or you can extend the legs, whichever you prefer. Allow the arms to be beside the body with the palms facing upward. And take a few deep breaths. Use your breath to clear away any thoughts of past or future, and to really settle into your body. Feeling the earth beneath you, and allowing the earth to hold you. That you don't have to hold yourself up. You can lean into the support of the earth. Scan your body from your toes to the top of your head. And just notice what you feel. Scan your body from the crown of the head to your feet. And as you move over each part of the body, relax. So you're relaxing the facial muscles, relaxing the neck and throat, relaxing the shoulders and arms, relaxing the hands, and just continue until you come to the toes and the feet. And now relax your breathing. Let your breathing slow down. Deepen your breath. And let's count our breath. Count 5 breath cycles. After the 5th breath cycle, you can keep the eyes closed if you wish, or you can open them as we begin movement. We'll start by stretching the spine, reaching both arms up above the head to the floor behind you. Stretch the whole body. Press your belly button into the low back as you stretch. And on the exhale, reach your arms back beside your body. So this all happens with the breath. Inhale, reaching up, stretch. Exhale, lowering the arms, relaxing the body. One more time, just a simple spinal stretch. Remember to draw your belly button towards your low back. And then relax. So now we're going to draw the knees to the chest and just hold the knees in close and give time for your body to adjust. Breathe into your low back. Notice where you feel compression and where you feel opening. And breathe into both areas. Breathe into the compression and breathe into the broadening. So now we're going to bring our hands onto our knees and we're going to make a circle. Knees together, massaging around your tailbone. The opposite direction. And then hold on to your right knee, extend your left leg upward, and lower your left leg down all the way to the ground. You're going to keep your left leg active as you press the right knee towards you. Notice where you feel compression and where you feel lengthening. What do you feel? And now release your right foot down to the floor. Draw both knees into the chest. And this time we're going to circle differently. One hand on each knee. We're going to circle the knees apart, bring them back together. It's a slightly different way of massaging around the tailbone. In both directions. And then hold on to your left knee. Extend your right leg up to the sky. Lower your right leg down slowly to the ground. When it touches, keep your right leg active. And notice what you feel on the left side of your body and what you feel on the right side of the body. And then release your left foot down. So let's bend the knees so both feet are on the floor. We're going to walk the feet wide apart. Open the arms wide apart. And now allow both knees to fall to the left side and turn your head to the right side. Just pause for a moment here. And then back to center as you breathe in, and to the other side as you breathe out, and pause with the knees on the right side. Looking towards your left side. Now we all have a different endurance and capacity, so just move according to what feels nourishing for your body and what feels beneficial. So it might be a quicker movement or it might be a slower movement. Here we're just loosening in the low back. And one more time. And then come back into center. So now let's roll over onto our side and press up onto the hands and knees. So we're on all fours in cat pose. Rounding the spine, head dropping down, belly drawing into the low back. And then the other direction. Looking up, heart reaching forward, hands pressing into the floor. Move with your own breath. You can do this intensely and you can do it gently. Decide which way of doing it will suit you today. Sometimes we need gentleness. And sometimes it's helpful to do things to the full degree that we're capable of. Find your own rhythm. And then come back into a neutral position. We're going to move just the pelvis, pelvic tilting. You're going to tuck your tailbone, draw the pelvic muscles, contract the pelvic muscles. The low back and sacrum flatten out. And then you tip the pelvis, pointing up to the sky, low back curves. And you continue this movement. Really try to find the engagement in the muscles of the lower pelvis and abdomen. Maybe once or twice more. And then come into a neutral position and we'll do some movement for the hip. You're familiar with this movement because we do it regularly in class. We lift the knee and ankle outward to the side. You can hold for a few seconds, then lower down and switch sides. And you're holding only for as much as you feel you have the endurance and capacity. And don't worry about how high you can lift. Just work within whatever range is available to you. Complete so that you've done an equal number on both sides. And now we're going to sink into child's pose. You can have the knees apart, toes together, sinking back to the heels, head towards the ground, and add any props to allow you to be more comfortable. We're now going to roll onto the front of the body. So lower onto your front, elbows wide, forehead or chin down. Take a few breaths into the back of your body so that you're really trying to expand the back muscles, expand the fascial tissue, and soften the back just through breath. So now let's bring the arms beside us. We'll do some back strengthening. You're going to let the whole body lift. Legs, chest, head. Hold this position. Feel the strength through the back muscles of the back of the body, the legs, the buttocks. You hold for as long as you have the endurance. And when you're ready to come down, you exhale and release. Just continue lifting as you breathe in, breathing as you hold the position. Feel the contraction, the muscles tensing to hold you high, and lower as you exhale. So we're contracting and relaxing the muscle tissue. This brings blood flow into the muscles. And complete, and then relax. Turn your head to the right side and hold on to your right leg. If you can't reach your leg, you can hold on to your socks or your pant leg. Maybe you might hold with one hand or both hands. This is a deep front body opening. You'll feel it in the front of the thigh, and you might also feel it through the back. Release your leg, turn your head to the other side, hold on to your left foot. We're going to continue with back bending, but we're going to do back bending on our backs. So release your leg and roll over onto your back. So the next back bending movement we'll do is bridge pose. So feet on the floor, hip width apart. You can walk your heels towards you, arms beside you. tilt the pelvis so that you flatten your low back into the floor, and then pinch your buttocks and lift upward, pressing the pelvis forward. And then lower on the exhale. And see if you can keep your pelvis tilted so that your low back touches. And then you fully release the buttocks and the backs of the legs. So continue lifting and lowering with your breath. You can even hold bridge pose for a few breaths. See what works for you. Complete one more time. And now we're going to work just with the pelvis. So first, relax your pelvis. Just like we did in cat, we're going to do pelvic tilts. We're going to keep the spine neutral and just work with isolating muscles in the pelvis and in the lower abdomen. So you tilt your pelvis so your low back presses deeper into the floor, and there's a contraction in the front of your pelvis between your pubic bone and the navel. And then you lift your low back on the floor and tilt the pelvis in the other direction. You're stretching the front of the pelvis. If you don't feel this, not to worry, just move in the way that I'm describing, pressing low back into the floor and lifting low back off the floor. Sometimes it takes time for us to develop the concentration and focus to be able to really isolate muscles and feel them. So not to worry if you just feel a general feeling and not a specific awareness. One more time. Tilting the pelvis and tipping it in both directions. And then allow your pelvis to find neutral. Let's make a triangle with our hands, our thumbs touching together and our first fingers touching together, and lay it over the area of the lower pelvis. So between your navel and pubic bone. This is a mudra, creating a subtle energy current that is nourishing for our pelvic organs. Just take a few breaths. And then relax your hands. We're going to roll onto our side and come up into sitting. And now we're going to do some work for the legs and some work for the shoulders. So let's start with our left heel in and our right leg extended. We're going to turn over our right leg, and maybe it's enough of a stretch to sit tall. Maybe you can already feel the hamstring muscle. If you have a little bit more room, more flexibility, you'll lean forward or walk it forward. even if it's a few centimeters or a few inches. What I notice is that if I tense my right thigh, it helps to stretch my right hamstring. Notice what you feel. Is there a way to be in this position where the muscles are active? And then let things get quiet as we endure sometimes the discomfort as the body responds to this shape. And now coming back up, we'll switch sides. Our right heel comes in. We orient our torso over the left leg. Maybe it's just sitting tall and that's enough. And maybe it's walking forward a little bit. Experiment with contracting your left thigh muscle and notice if that helps you to really lengthen the hamstring muscle. And then we get quiet and let time do its work. And then slowly coming back up. So now we're going to extend both legs in a wide forward fold. And maybe it's enough just to sit tall, or maybe again you have a little bit of room to lean forward. This can be, for me, this is a deep stretch. So feel the stretch for the inner thighs. And give time for the body to respond. And then slowly coming back up. So now we're going to stretch our legs a little differently. We're going to come into lunge position, which is another way of stretching the legs and the hip flexors. So step forward with your right foot, and you can have a prop underneath of your hands. Bring both hands to the inside of your right foot. I'm on my fists, but you can be on a prop with your hands flat. And instead of dropping the head down, keep your head in line with the rest of the spine and just start to feel the left thigh, left hip flexor, and keep your right leg active and engaged. So you're pressing your right foot into the floor. It's an active stretch. Some muscles are active and engaged, and other muscles are stretching and lengthening. So now let's switch sides. We're going to step forward with the left foot. Again, you can have a prop on the inside of your left foot. Lean your hands or fists into the prop. Head in line with the rest of the spine. And your left foot and left leg are active as you feel the length through your right hip flexor. So now we're going to step into a forward fold, but let's come into downward dog first. We haven't done a downward dog, and it's a beautiful way to stretch the back, but we're going to first break it apart and do an easier version by reaching the hands forward, leaning the sit bones back, and stretching just the spine and the back. Take a few deep breaths. And now let's come back onto the hands and knees and come into the full variation. And if you're not quite up to it, you can do the same variation or just come into child's pose. Downward dog actually takes a lot of flexibility in the legs and in the hip area. And if you don't have that flexibility, it can be really hard. Then we're working really hard to hold ourselves up with our arms. So now let's walk the hands towards the feet. We're going to come into a standing forward bend. And the feet are active. They're active. The arches are active. Your leg muscles are toned. They are also active. And the upper body is relaxed forward. Now we're going to slowly roll up into standing. Draw your abdomen in. Allow it to support your back. Feel the back of the body as you roll up through the spine. Good. So now in standing, we did some leg stretching. We're going to do some leg strengthening, lifting the heels, coming up onto the toe mounds, staying in this position as long as you are able. And if you come out of balance, not to worry. And then lowering slowly the calves, the heels down. So this is really working our calf muscles, but it also creates tone in the legs. Let's add the arms, reaching up. So you're stretching the whole body. And then on the exhale, lowering down. You can do it with your breath, or you can stay in this position for a few breaths. Good. So now we're going to exercise our heart, raise our heartbeat, get blood flow and circulation going. We'll do toe walking and heel walking. So we bring the palms to the crown of the head, stretch upward, come up onto the toes, and take 20 steps around the room that you're in. I find toe walking and heel walking is a great way to really get blood flowing and energy moving. If you're feeling a little stagnant, it's great to do in the morning, or if you need a break in the afternoon instead of grabbing extra caffeine. And toe walking is followed by heel walking. So we do the same thing, but we lift our toes and we walk on our heels. And these exercises come from level 1 of yoga in daily life, the system. I find they're very, very effective and really quite profound in what they're able to do for the body. So you're taking 20 steps on your heels. Sometimes even the simplest things can be very deep and very profound. So bring your feet down and let your arms relax down and take a few breaths. Just be in a neutral standing position. Let your breath and heartbeat return to a slower pace. And we're going to do some work for the arms. So standing and reaching your right arm up, and we're going to make a circle. And as you make this circle, you're feeling the arm in the shoulder socket. And now we're going to reverse the direction of the movement. Circling backwards. Again, really tuning into the shoulder joint. You might even feel a stretch through the front of the chest area. And then relax. And then just bring all your attention to the right shoulder area. Notice what you feel. Sometimes when I do this, not only do I feel warm, but I also feel like my shoulder drops. So let's start with the left side. And you're noticing these things so you can really make the connection between the movement and the effect of the movement. So that when you need to relax your shoulders because you have shoulder tension, you know what movements you can do. And let's move in the opposite direction now. Circling movement in the left shoulder joint. Relax and feel your left shoulder joint. So now we add complexity. Both arms are moving. They'll be moving in opposite directions. And this really harmonizing the brainwave communication between the different hemispheres. Right arm forward, left arm circling backwards. And continue this movement, right arm forward, left arm circling backwards. And then let's switch directions where the left arm is circling forwards and the right arm is circling backwards. And then relax both arms. Great. So we're going to do a breathing exercise that involves arm movement, and it stretches the sides of the body and it stretches the front of the body. Also notice what happens in the lungs. Notice what happens with your breath. Inhale to shoulder height. Turn your palms to face upward. Exhale, cross one. Sorry, I just have to move this. Inhale, lower down to shoulder height. Exhale to the sides of the body. You're going to move with your breath. Full concentration. One more time. Good. And now we're going to come down into sitting and we're going to do some massaging of the joints. It's a really nice way to use the healing power in our hands, the healing power in our bodies, and to really give some TLC to the body. So let's start with the right knee bent. I'm going to start with the right ankle, just making circles. Even if you're wearing socks, it's no problem. Just think of circulation increasing to the right ankle joint. Really nice way to warm up the joint. Massage the joint tissue and to give some TLC to our bodies. So now we're going to come up to the right knee. You're going to massage around your right knee. Sometimes we neglect our bodies. Maybe we're in our minds, lost in thought, maybe lost in emotions. This is a nice way to really bring our attention back to the body. Massage underneath of your knee, like behind the knee. So now we're going to come to the left side. We're going to bend the left leg and massage around your left ankle. You can have a vigorous or a gentle way of massaging. There's no right or wrong way. And then let's move it up to the knee. This is a very beautiful way of fortifying the body. Many of us are faced with many different stresses and pressures, family pressures, work stress. And then there's the stress of modern day living. And so this is just a gentle way underneath the knee of fortifying the body. For our hips, we're going to do something a little bit different. Let's come into kneeling. This will give us more surface area to work with. And you can either tap with your fists or you can massage the hip joint. You can see what works best for you. And here that's front of the hip, the side of the hip, the back of the hip. If your arms or hands are getting tired, you can always rest and just pause. This is a great workout for our arms. Come back into a comfortable sitting position, and we're going to work with our upper body. So let's start with the left wrist. Just making circles around your left wrist. Really nourishing your body through the sense organ of touch. Let's go around the elbow. If the skin is feeling sensitive, we can also apply distant touch by just circling around. We don't have to necessarily touch if for any reason the skin is feeling a little tender or painful. And then the shoulder. And you can think of how you would touch or massage a child that you love. You know how beautiful children's bodies are and babies' bodies are. They're just perfect. Think of touching your own body with this same attitude. And let's do the other side. So now our right wrist. And our right elbow. And our right shoulder. And then give yourself a hug. Hold on to each shoulder with the opposite hand. So you're hugging yourself, sitting nice and tall. You can close the eyes. And think of something that you value about yourself. Something you value about yourself. Let's hug in the opposite way. So what I mean is the opposite hand on top. If that doesn't make sense, just hug yourself again. Take a few deep breaths. And think of someone you'd like to send a hug to. And then relax. We're going to massage our face. So we're going to use our fingers to massage the temples. Sometimes there's a lot of tension that can accumulate in the area of the temples. You can apply just the right amount of pressure that feels good. We're going to tap the jaw area and the chin area. The jaw is also a place where we store tension, sometimes in clenching the teeth.
when we want to say something, but we hold ourselves back. And then we tighten our mouths and our jaw. And then you're going to massage your ears and your earlobes. You probably noticed that in massages, they usually end with a massage of the earlobes because there's a lot of nerve endings in the earlobes. And then let's smooth out the eyebrows. Just bring your palms in prayer position, thumbs to the forehead, and then spread your palms apart. Smooth out your forehead. Just stretching the skin across the forehead. And then we'll do palming, rubbing the palms together, creating heat and warmth, and cupping them over the eyes so that the eyes can absorb that warmth. And then lie down in a position that's comfortable. We're going to move into our relaxation. I'll be sitting up so that I can guide it a little bit easier in terms of my instructions and my voice and the microphone. But just lie down comfortably. Take a few deep breaths. Let all tension melt away with each exhale. Feel the earth supporting your body. Become aware of the sky above you and the space around you. Imagine that you are lying down in a beautiful surrounding. It could be indoors or it could be outdoors. You're in a beautiful space. The temperature of the air is so pleasant. There's a beautiful smell or fragrance in the air. And the fragrance uplifts you. The sounds that you hear around you comfort you and make you happy. They allow you to deeply relax. You're feeling so relaxed and content in this beautiful, abundant, fragrant sounding place. Let your body and being dwell in the beauty and abundance of the place that you've chosen, soaking it all in. And now become aware of the presence of all of us here, practicing breathing, dwelling in beauty together. Deepen your breath. Begin to wake up movement in your fingers and toes. Stretch and move your body in whatever way feels natural. And roll onto your side and come up into sitting. And we will end with a dedication. At all times in human history, there are those that are fortunate and those that are suffering. And we dedicate our efforts for those that are suffering, that they may find fortune, they may be blessed, they may find peace and harmony, and that even a moment of beauty can remind them of the possibility of hope. So dedicate your practice. And then when you're ready, open the eyes. And thank you for joining.